Hello folks, Phil Gallagher of ThrabenU here for another Legacy video. Today's video is supported by Top Decked. I'll run a little ad for them after round one so you can kind of see who they are and what they do if you have never seen them before. For anyone who has checked out Top Decked before, either because of me or you use it for some other reason, I would really appreciate comments in today's video on what you think about Top Decked. It doesn't have to all be good. If you think there's something bad about it, like, please let me know. And I'm going to kind of forward all these comments to Lincoln, the guy who runs Top Deck, CEO, God Pharaoh, whatever you want to call him. So you can kind of get so he can kind of get a feel for, what is he doing right versus wrong? Where is it not user friendly and so forth. Okay, chilling done for now. Let's talk about today's deck list. So every time I have a donation from Top Deck, I kind of use it to just find something spicy. And I was looking through the 5.0 deck list dumps, and I found this deck that wants to recycle Dauthi Voidwalker and Grief using draft common Undying Evil. So it's an instant for 1 black, and a creature gets Undying until end of turn. And in case you're not familiar with that mechanic, Undying is if it dies this turn, if it had no +1/+1 counters on it, return it to the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it. So the idea is you can do something like evoke a Grief to make your opponent discard a card, and while the sacrifice trigger from evoke is on the stack, you Undying Evil it. Similarly, you can sacrifice Dauthi Voidwalker to choose an exiled card an opponent controls with a void counter on it, and then you can play it without paying its mana cost. So the idea is you Undying Evil Dauthi Voidwalker, sacrifice it, cast that card for free, and then it comes back, and you can repeat that the following turn, which is a pretty sick combo. And the rest of the shell here is kind of like a classic rock legacy deck. Just straight green-black good stuff with a focus on things like Dark Confidant, Hymn to Turok, Turok Dread Canter, all that sort of stuff. We also have Grist, who is a pretty neato planeswalker. Most of the stuff that's here is familiar, with the exception of Paradox Zone, which I don't even know what it does, so I'm going to read this one live. Alright, it enters the battlefield with a growth counter on it. At the beginning of your end step, double the number of growth counters on this thing, then create a 0/0 green and blue fractal creature token, put X +1/+1 counters on it, where X is the number of growth counters on Paradox Zone. Oh, sweet. So you get a 2/2, then a 4/4. Okay. All right, that's pretty cool. That's an awesome grinding card. Why have I not seen that more in Nick Fit? Yeah, I don't think I have too much else to say about this. We're just gonna go in, play some good solid Magic. Something I'm unsure about just kind of from the get-go is that this deck has 4 Wastelands, and it's also a deck that has a huge number of double-colored pips. Like, we have a bunch of turn 2 black-black plays, we have a green-black turn 2 play, we have green-green and black-black, and combination on turn 3. I feel like 4 Wastelands might be like 5% too greedy. I tend to really err on the side of building strong, consistent mana bases that let me cast my spells, and I get that Wasteland is powerful and that like Wasteland is good with Bob. I just wonder if that's what this deck wants to be doing. It seems like we have a lot of stuff to sink our mana into come the end game, especially if we consider Grief as like a hard castable 4-drop. Anyway, I hope you enjoy. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing for Legacy, Modern, and Vintage content 5 days a week. And if you are a channel regular, please consider throwing a like on this video before we get started. Let's battle. Oh, and by the way, one more aside. Over the next couple of days, the videos are all going to like sound slightly different. I'm playing with some settings to try to figure out like what does and doesn't work, and trying to troubleshoot like exactly where some of my audio volume issues are coming from. Okay, the round 1 opening hand is kind of weird. So in terms of sequencing, it wants to go Wasteland you, land, Hymn to Turok, Grief as an endgame card. I kind of feel like most of my other opening hands will look better than this. Like, turn 2 Hymn is totally reasonable. But I just don't feel like this hand has a coherent enough plan to just win most of the time. Okay. So I didn't talk about this in the deck check. So this is pro white. It's a 2/1. Whenever an opponent discards a card, it gets a +1/+1 counter, and we can kick it for 2 more to get a Hymn to Turok on the way in. I think I keep this on 6. This is about as good as the first hand was, though, unfortunately. Maybe worse, because it doesn't him on 2. If we're just playing against, like, Delver, though, it's totally fine. So we're likely playing against Death and Taxes. Okay, hand got a lot better with that draw. Although if my opponent just plays Thalia on turn 2, I end up pretty behind in terms of a... Oh, JK. Nope, nope. Yep. Yeah, that's fine. I don't get to Fatal Push that this turn. So we may be playing against something like Soldier Stompy. I think I am just going to Wasteland my opponent. I know this isn't like the best play in the world in some ways, but these sort of decks have really bad mana. These like Soldier Stompy, White Eldrazi types of decks that are trying to take advantage of both big mana and colored spells at the same time. And so if you can take them off of that mana and cause them to stumble, it often ends up being really strong. The second Ancient Tomb was a beating for that, but c'est la vie. And they only took 2, which probably means the third one is in hand. And I will take a little bit of a beating off the Thalia. Okay. Oh, you want to play the pro-white card here. Just seems like that's a great use of my mana. Like, that stalls the Thalia, and it lets me cast Hymn to Turok next turn and take care of some of the Hawks that are lurking. I can use removal spells on those things. I think I have sideboard. Yeah, I have sideboard Plague Engineers, not main deck Plague Engineers. We'll see. We could get, like, Palace Jailerd or something. Alright, daggers. This is just a game where everything has kind of worked out a little bit, unfortunately. Okay, yeah, opponent has to go to their second main phase in order to cast their stuff properly. Sure. Yeah, and they didn't use it, so they do have the fourth one in hand. Okay. I think this turn needs to just remove Thalia, because like now that my opponent has Karakas to protect it, I'm not going to get that many opportunities to just do that. Let's go ahead and remove the Thalia. And then I'll play Bayou and pass, and then next turn we can look at kicking Turok to take away some of my opponent's remaining creatures that are waiting in hand, and then hopefully get the board under control. Yeah, I'll take 2. That's totally fine. So Force of Virtue is something that I'm going to have to keep in mind in this matchup. It's the sort of thing that I'm expecting at this point. I don't really like Squadron Hawk as a white threat anymore. I think it has lost out on a lot of oomph. Yeah. Dig it. I think my opponent might have the whatever the flash pitch card is. That's the same cycle as Endurance. Solitude, there we go. Yep. That was a good call on my end, but I can play that out because this is pro-white. So we did manage to take out 2 cards there. 2 creatures at that. My opponent might have multiple Solitudes, though. Yeah, because otherwise they would have responded to Woozy What's It with it. Yep. Oh. Okay. That is an up to. So you just have to click OK if you don't want to do that. We'll take that. Pro-white creature is almost good. Need another Wasteland. But now I have like recurring Hymn to Turok every turn. I need something that can kill the Solitude, because I can Abrupt Decay this Hawk. And I wish I had something other than these Bobs to play out. Probably just what's happening. Another Solitude, okay. So now we'll play out a Bob and hope that we can trade it with Solitude. And take 1 from the Hawk and hopefully work towards stabilizing this game. Oh no. 6 mana. A Walking Ballista? Question mark? Oh, nope, just the 4th Solitude. Sure. Undying Evils aren't particularly good against that. I think I'm just dead here. Unless... Okay. I can reanimate a Solitude, go to 2 life, trade, like, get a Solitude on the way in, trade a Solitude for a Solitude, and then Abrupt Decay Squadron Hawk. Alright. A little weird. Goodbye. Okay, so notably this is under owner's control. So I can't use Undying Evil effectively on my opponent's Solitude. Which is a shame, because that would be a cool trick. Alright, here they come. You don't fly, you got Flash and Lifelink. But I am just gonna go ahead and take that out here. Alright. Now stop playing things. Oh, fuck. I am very dead to that. So, get to Legion Angel for a Legion Angel. Oh. Alright, man, I am so close. I'm so close. Like, I can get that out of their hand, but then I just die to this, even if I attack in and gain 3 life, because that offsets that. Wait, no. No, I can attack in with Solitude. No, I might be able to keep playing here. I'll attack in, I'll take my 3 life and go to 5. God damn it. Well, I guess if I played Turok pre-combat, I would have died a different way. Like, they just would have responded, and then I... Yep. That's super unfortunate. Yeah, so now I go to 5, and I still die in the air, even if I block that. Okay. GG's. Alright, what do I have for this White Stompy deck? Plague Engineers and Pernicious Deed are probably both okay. An Edict is probably fine. Loam, Force of Vigor, and Endurances are probably fine as well. I think I definitely want this stuff, and these are all, like, borderline. Is the matchup slow enough for a Paradox Zone? It might be, but I'm boarding in a lot of cards. So, I think my life total is going to be under too much pressure for the Sylvan Libraries. I think the Thought Seizes are awkward, because my opponent probably has Chalices. They would probably stay in this matchup, because I showed my opponent both Fatal Push and Reanimate. I think Turok is quite good, despite the fact that Karakas is a card that exists. I will probably go down some number of Griefs, which also probably means I want to go down some number of Undying Evil. Undying Evil is a little less good than normal, because my opponent's removal is going to exile in almost every case. So, maybe 2-2. Like, Undying Evil is still a combat trick, like, in the Classic Limited sense. So, like, I can still, like, block trade, bring something back. Like, that stuff is still fine. I want to play with this card. I want to get this card into play at some point in this league. I don't think it's correct to bring in Paradox Zone, but, like, damn it, I'm going to do it. Alright, what are we... We're looking at a mulligan. Second hand is reasonable to good. I will be keeping this. I think I just throw back this. I think double Plague Engineer is pretty potent at shutting down a lot of what my opponent is doing. Although if I keep this, I have a proactive and reactive turn 2 play. I just really don't want to pitch a Plague Engineer. I think they're too good to do this. And go. Alright, here we go. Do you have a turn 1 play for me? No, you have an Esper Sentinel. Yeah, I'm gonna assume that I'll just fetch that via Plague Engineer on my turn 3. I think that's fine. Ooh, this is non-creature, right? It is. Yeah, let's just go ahead and do this. Alright, we can both play with Modern Horizons 2 cards. This is Legacy, that's allowed. Now, notably, the Urborg is kind of nice for my opponent, because if they have Ancient Tombs, it allows them to, like, play cards without necessarily having to lose life. Okay. So that's bad for me, because that means that things like Legion Angel can come down this turn. Palace Jailer. Or, like, Skyclave Apparition, which I'm guessing is also in there. Okay, a Squadron Hawk went under that. Okay. Well, good turn for me. Also, thank you, Urborg, for keeping my fetches alive. Notably, this card has Shadow, so that is a safe attack. It's not a mistake or anything. Okay. We're going to hold the green source for as long as possible. So there's a human soldier. Legion Angel, a bird soldier. Legion Angel, MTG. No, it's an Angel Warrior. I think it's probably pretty close which one of these I name. I'm just going to name human. Alright, and we'll swing in for 3. Now, notably, these do have void counters on there, so if at some point I decide I want an Esper Sentinel, I can get an Esper Sentinel. Alright, what's the damage? Alright. I am so confused about everything. So, like, my opponent had this Squadron Hawk, right? And on their previous turn, they could have Squadron Hawked, drawn 3 cards, put one of the Squadron Hawks under the Chrome Mox, and then played a Suppression Field. So, like, if they wanted to go that route, they had other opportunities afforded to them in order to do so. So basically, I'm just a little unsure of why they've taken the lines that they have. Get in there. Now I need to start thinking about like whether or not I want to play out this Plague Engineer, because it's like Winds of Abandon is a card that could exist in my opponent's deck, and like, do I want to play into a board wipe? Do I want to save one of these? These things are like very much not getting activated in the short term, so I think I will go ahead and just play this out. Bird. You have a subtype? Nope, you're just a bird. I think I will go ahead and name that because it would be a reasonable chump blocker. If you're interested in this sort of archetype, I did a lot of work on this a couple years back. I think I just want to hold up Sudden Edict for this turn cycle, at least until combat happens. Okay, combat happens, I deal 5 damage. So now, I think I just pay 4 mana to wasteland my opponent here. Just fire that off. Should leave my opponent with, I think, no outs. Yeah. I think my opponent played that one poorly. I think this hand goes way better for them if they do the Squadron Hawk line that I outlined. I still don't know they win because I have the follow-up Plague Engineer, but I think they left themselves in a much better position. Okay, so now I know about suppression fields. Do I want to Force of Vigor and better play around those sorts of things? Because it won't always just be like that free to play around them. Like, I had an Urborg this game, which was a huge boon. Probably do. Let's get these Undying Evils out and play a couple more cards that are better against Suppression Field. Yeah, let's try this. Okay, this opener is a little soft to a Suppression Field, which I don't love, but I think I keep this still. I just have so many tools. Like, I have removal, I have an unblockable threat, I have something that discards, I have something that brick walls, I have a card advantage engine. There is a whole lot to like about this hand, especially now. If my opponent has Suppression Field, I think I want like basic Forest. This does make it a little less convenient to play a Dauthi Voidwalker on turn 2, but I don't think I'm doing that most of the time here. Yep, your Squadron Hawk is fine. It's good, but I don't think it's the end of the world. Yeah, they only take 2 here. Is there any world where I want to play Dauthi Voidwalker this turn cycle? I don't think so. So I am just going to go ahead and fetch out my basic forest now. There we go. Sudden Edict's not great against Hawks, but it's fine. Like, Endurance is the real gem here. I think I want to open myself up to a Wasteland effect by getting a Bayou so that I can play Endurance next turn on curve while also playing around Suppression Field. But if I was going to do that, then maybe I should have just gotten 2 Bayous. It's probably okay. All right. Bye, Bob. My opponent will get another Hawk. My opponent will attack and then get another Hawk. That's fine, I'll take 1 and go to 19. I'm actually feeling pretty good. Rest in peace? Question mark? Oh, I did show them Undying Evil, which I have boarded out. Oh, I also showed them Reanimate. Okay. I don't know if this card's good enough, but I understand their reasoning for having it. Alright. Play around an Aven Mind Sensor by fetching now. I am really looking forward to kicking this next turn. And since we're already wastelandable, let's just pick up another Bayou here. I think I'm now a pretty heavy favorite to win this game. Come here, bird friend. Today I am the person having fun playing the Endurance. Yesterday I was the miserable person being beaten down by Endurance. So this is a nice change of pace. Target you. Couple all those cards in there. Alright, it looks like we are successfully getting the block off. Well, Cavern is fine. Looks like Soldier is their one of choice, so I might want to err that direction if I have a blind Plague Engineer in the future. Oh. Just a billion of these. That makes some of this stuff a little bit worse, but all these things are still just smaller than Endurance. And again, I think I just continue fetching while the fetching is good. And let's kick the ever-loving crap out of Turok. All these cards black. Alright, yeah, we can always yield to these triggers. Also, what did I discard? Squadron Hawk and a Cavern of Souls. Sure. And I can go ahead and send in the Endurance. Turok is probably not going anywhere. Opponent has to have Caracas in order for that to happen. Sure. I'm not sure if that is actually good for them. Alright, so I will keep a creature and a land, and then I'll click done. Like, I'm keeping a 4/3 pro-white threat. Not sure that this goes well for you. I'm just going to battle on in. Like, I'm going to have 7 unblockable damage a turn. That just puts my opponent dead in 2 turns post-Cataclysm. Like, sure. What's the path to victory for you? Especially with double Ancient Tomb. I think my opponent had a better chance of winning if they didn't cast Cataclysm. Yup. End them. Alright, that puts you to 4. Yep. GG's. Like, I don't know if they win without trying the Cataclysm, because, like, they have a bunch of things like Battalion Foot Soldiers and Squadron Hawks, and I have things that those can't jump block. But, like, with double Ancient Tomb and such a low life total, after that attack, I don't know how... I don't see the path to victory for them from there. Alright, so this is Top Decked, which is Lincoln Baxter III's website, which is supposed to be this all-in-one app for Magic the Gathering. Whether you want to look at a metagame breakdown, whether or not you want to check out the prices of cards, whether or not you want a repository for all of your decks, which has some additional features to it where you can simulate things, and you can even playtest and take a look at opening hands. If you're interested in Magic, please consider trying this out and giving us some feedback. Alrighty, round 2, and looks pretty good. We have Bob, and then we have Bob a second time. Maybe we have Bob a third time even. We don't want to be playing against, like, white-based removal here. Ooh, Grief pitching Ashen Rider. That's a shame. If my opponent didn't have this, like, we could maybe reanimate their Grief. I guess that kind of, like, prices them into taking this, huh? I mean, that means I'll get to keep my Bob. So we're presumably playing against Black-Red Reanimator. Although I suppose a Dredge deck could also have Grief and Ashen Rider, but I haven't really seen builds around that look like that. Yep, there's the Reanimate going. Yeah. Alright, I don't really want another Sylvan Library. So that's kind of effectively the end of my turn. I would say my opponent is probably currently favored. Even just something like reanimating the Grief is potentially good enough. Okay. Oh, there's now a View Dungeon Information button. Alright, and we're going. It looks like I'm leaning pretty heavily on Endurance for my Graveyard Hate. I'm not going to concede because I have Sudden Edict as an out to Grizzlebrand. Unmask away. Although I should probably turn off auto yields and fetch a Bayou out of my deck and just, like, give me that 0.5% better chance of drawing the Sudden Edict. Alright, goodbye library. That's fine. Okay. So now Sudden Edict is no longer an out for Grizzlebrand, which is rough. I think I'm now on no outs reading this. Oh. God, there's more. You know what? I'm gonna just fetch a Bayou and F6 and we'll go from there. Take anything or non-land. That's what I meant by anything. Alright. So that was a pretty good turn too. Alright. So this is good. This means that I have Sudden Edict as an out next turn. Alright. Cast. Destroy you. Alright. On Sudden Edict. And my opponent not producing another creature. Alright, I'm taking 7 here. Will my opponent draw the cards? Oh, they already drew the cards. Sorry, I made a note to myself of something I wanted to do. Oh, they have blue. I don't know if you were supposed to show me that land. If you could at all avoid it. This blue probably means there's show and tells for post-sideboard games. Oh, an Archon of Cruelty. Alright, I think I can go ahead and concede the game here. I have seen enough to know that I am done. Alright, so we want more copies of Endurance. I want these Sudden Edicts. And then most of the rest of this stuff is pretty medium minus. There's fringe scenarios where like a Force of Vigor can be good or a Collective can be good. But I don't think I want to walk down that road. I don't know that I need to Undying Evil, but it's super cool with Grief, and the Griefs are all staying in. I think Abrupt Decay is probably pretty weak as a whole. It doesn't hit their Griefs. I think that's my easiest board out. Fatal Push does hit Grief. Not really what I want, but again, most of the stuff on the sideboard isn't particularly potent. Let's trim one Fatal Push for the Life from the Loam. Wasteland Recursion sounds okay if I make it past the initial onslaught. Also pretty cute with Dauthi Voidwalker. Alright. We're looking for Dauthi Voidwalker and Endurance. Nope. How about this one? Throw back a Fatal Push with his hand. I Grief pitching Grief, and then I play a Bob on turn 2. Is this strong enough? I think so. Actually, maybe I Grief pitching Turok. Yeah, let's Grief pitching Turok. Then if I draw another black card next turn, I can potentially Grief a second time. Alright. Grief. Exile Turok. This is weird because like now my opponent can reanimate Grief on turn 1. Okay, there's the show and tells that I anticipated. Other hand's actually really good. I need to take this in Tomb. It's actually pretty interesting. I can take the Dark Ritual. Man, it's really hard to poke a hole in this hand with just one thing. I think I want to take the Entomb and then Grief to get rid of the show and tell. It just gets a little weird if they like Dark Ritual, Animate Dead my own Grief, because then that stops all that, which is like one of the reasons to take Dark Ritual. But if I take Dark Ritual, then I have to worry about like Entomb into Animate Dead while also having show and tell on the back burner. Please draw a black card. He did do very badly. Fuck. So if I don't Grief here, they just have guaranteed show and tell next turn. Just Dark Ritual, show and tell, plus fetch land. So I have to Grief. And it sucks. I'm not pleased about this. Alright, what you got for me? I assume it looks approx. Fuck me. Second show and tell. And I can't take the Grizzlebrand, otherwise it goes to the graveyard for Animate Dead. Alright. I know when I've been beat. Like I can technically like try to play towards beating the Grizzlebrand, but it is not happening. So, that was brutal. Alright, I will be keeping this opening hand here. I wish it had more colored mana. You know, kind of we see the ability here that like I'm not going to be able to cast a Dauthi Voidwalker on 2. But that is what it is. I think I have played against this opponent today. But I don't Oh, did we just get paired against the Reanimator player again? 2 games in a row? Seems like it. Okay. I guess land go. It's so relevant that I can't Dauthi Voidwalker on turn 2. I would need something else to break this here. So like it is what it is. But I expect to just die here. Yep. Yep. That's Grizzlebrand. Cuckoo. I mean, sort of like before, I technically have an out here. I can draw a Sudden Edict and get rid of the Grizzlebrand. But life's bad. I also can't just like cast one of these 1-drops. Oh no, I can just cast the Fatal Push targeting the Grizzlebrand. So I am going to do that in response here. Actually, no, I'm not going to do that in response because it works with Undying Evil as well. Alright. So they probably take my Dauthi Voidwalker. Yep, as expected. I can produce a second creature here. I don't think I have realistic outs to it. Yeah. That specifically might be fine. So I can burst the Chancellor. Do I need to burst the Chancellor tax? I can just Fatal Push it on my turn and pay for the tax that way. Yeah, that's fine. And I think I do need to kill this turn. I just don't think I can take the extra 3 points of damage here. Cast, blow you up, pay for that. The downside of doing this here is that if my opponent has another reanimation spell, they can just like bring it back on their turn and protect from my out. My opponent can also just draw 7 more cards and deal with me that way. Okay, getting a little bit of lag here. I believe I took 7 and then my opponent immediately drew. Although I didn't see any of that visually on my end. Looks like we're due for a Moto restart. We're getting exhumed. Alright, concede. Okay, so what do we do before? Endurance is in. Sudden Edicts and... Oh, I don't have game 1 Sudden Edicts. I wasn't actually playing towards an out there. Okay. Then I think I decided Undying Evil was kind of medium. I feel like I boarded more cards than this before. I think I boarded in the Life from the Loam. Oh, over a Fatal Push, which I think I'm still okay with. Just theoretically, like, Wasteland Recursion is totally reasonable. If, big if I can get something like a Dauthi Voidwalker into play in the first place. But my opponent is, like, both bigger and faster than I am in terms of, like, deck construction. I think they're overwhelmingly favored here. I mean, this is a reasonable hand of Magic cards. I probably have to keep this just a little soft to a Chancellor. Alright, my opponent is taking a first mulligan. Okay, looks like I dodged Chancellor. So hopefully my opponent just doesn't have that like crazy insulated hand like they had last time. Alright. This is a weird one. I am probably supposed to take the Entomb here, because that shuts off future reanimation spells from being good. But if they naturally rip a creature, it means they at least theoretically have a turn 2 show and tell. They would need to draw like both creature and land. But Faithless Looting helps out with that. Oh no. They drew an Entomb. Oh no. They're just doing things in second main. Okay, so now they're gonna loot. And I'll probably discard this Serenity. Okay, Serenity and Dark Ritual are gone. So Wasteland is very good. I will happily Wasteland over playing Sylvan Library here. Yeah, if I can like get a Grist into play and get a couple of insects so that I can have a few destroy target creatures queued up, that sounds great to me. So I think I can put in a Grist off a show and tell, right? Yeah, I think I can. Alright, so I will have Life from the Lone Wasteland available to me. I'm just going to play Sylvan Library here. Finding an Endurance would be pretty huge. And I can't Wasteland this turn anyway. If my opponent fetches without playing a show and tell, I think I will Wasteland them over playing Grist. We'll see. Like, so many things can change in this turn cycle. Oh, are they just passing? They are just passing. Oh, wonderful. Always yes, and always yield. Oh, baby. So this land can go back. But I'll pay life for this. Alright. This is an easy opportunity to fetch and just play a grist. I'm not 100% safe yet, but this game is trending in my direction. Alright, so we have one Doomblade or equivalent available to us. Alright, I guess I can't call it a Doomblade because, you know, opponent could be Grizzle Branding, but you get the idea. Ooh, there is movement. Oh yeah, that's fine. If opponent doesn't go off this turn and I just get to, like, wasteland that land, I don't think I usually lose from there, given the other combination of things that I have going on. Like, I have the graveyard covered, I have a show and tell kind of covered, I have their mana covered as well. Now, admittedly, opponent does have 7 cards in hand, so, like, things can happen. Alright. A Dark Ritual, sure. So we're going to see some sort of reanimation spell. The question is, like, do I want to pitch Endurance to Endurance, or do I want to pitch Life from the Loam to Endurance? I think I want to pitch Endurance to Endurance. I just think Life from the Loam for Wasteland here is just so good, and I have Sylvan Library to find me a threat or another piece of interaction. Oh, I didn't wait until this had targeted Grizzlebrand, did I? That was sloppy. Oh no, I did. Okay, it was not sloppy. I was actively thinking about that. Ooh. This is... I can mill one of these. Probably mill this away. I don't know if I can undo this without crashing Magic Online. Restarting the game. The undo function has been really fucked. This wasn't how I wanted to do this. But I'm not willing to risk restarting the game when my position is so good in order to do that. Alright. There's Wasteland. Wasteland, target that. Yeah, I need a Moto restart. This is sluggish. I've already plussed my Grist, thank you. And now the Hymn to Turok is no longer on top of my deck, so I don't need to draw through that next turn. Okay, they have conceded, which is great. Let's just submit the same 75. And I think this game is going to be short enough that I can tolerate the slowness without restarting, and then I'll just restart after this one. Okay, this opening hand has a turn 2 Dauthi Voidwalker, which is obviously a great card in the matchup, but I'm not sure that this hand, generally speaking, is actually fast enough. I'd much rather have, like, a Thoughtseize or an Endurance in the opener. I think I'm going to mulligan this one. Like, this is a fine hand, but I think I need better than fine when I am on the draw. This is much better than the previous hand. I'll pitch Undying Evil here and be pretty happy with this hand. I don't have a green card to pitch to Endurance. Like, that's the big flaw with this hand, but hopefully Thoughtseize can punch a hole to let me get to Dauthi Voidwalker on turn 2. I mean, hopefully I get a turn 1. Alright, goodbye, Undying Evil. How bad is it? Okay. Can't tell if my opponent is thinking or if they're lagging. Still unclear. Oh, fuck. God damn it. And now it's just like I lose because I didn't have a green card in my hand for this. Yep, alright. GG's. That's a little frustrating. Alright, I have kept my opening hand here. It has an Undying Evil, and we could consider, like, Evoke Endurance early and then Undying Evil on it. Okay, we were playing against ninjas. And these wastelands are not looking hot here. Do I want to essentially use 3 cards to make a 4/5 on turn 1? I think I do. I think I want to do it on my opponent's turn. No, I want to do it on my turn. Yeah, I'm going to do it on my turn. That better plays around a spot removal spell. I would much prefer that this was a Grief, but, you know, you do what you gotta do. Are you? And Undying Evil. Operation 4/5. And it undies, and it comes back, and you know what? I'm gonna nuke your graveyard again. Fetch, Fatal Push, Table Flip. What if I do this on their turn? They can just like interrupt it with a Fatal Push or equivalent anyway. Doing it on my turn means Force of Negation is live. Alright. So that's unblockable, so they will do their whole ninja thing. Presumably. Do it. Do it. Do it. Oh. They were taking the time to write a comment. Love my channel. Thanks. You're in a video. Alright, it kind of feels like my endurance. Oh, no, just Baleful Strix. Which is basically a removal spell for endurance. Okay. So I don't really want to attack in with endurance. I guess we're just playing a Bob. And then hopefully at some point I draw a removal spell for the Baleful Strix, and then I can start beating in with this. But we might just get dazed here. But I don't think I get the luxury of playing around daze, because the rest of my hand is just completely dead. Like, I need the cards from Bob. Yeah. Okay. I lose this game. Like, assuming my opponent draws a ninja to actually start getting in and drawing cards and stuff, I think the game spirals out of control in their favor quite quickly. Okay, so I assume I'm going to get Eurocode or equivalented here. Okay, it is the Ingenious Infiltrator instead. That's good. I can block that one in future turns. All right, not what I'm looking for. We'll take out an Underground Sea. So the thing that kind of sucks here is like my opponent can continue to attack in with this Baleful Strix, and I can't really make this trade with Endurance because I need to hold back the things that are going to draw cards. And Baleful Strix. Yeah, just ugh. If I don't block it, then I can like put in another ninja and blah 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 blah. I will be happier playing this matchup in the post sideboard games. I think I've got some great tools available for me. Yeah, that's annoying too. Yeah, like, I'm in trouble. This Ornithopter turns into a 4/4 immediately. Luckily, I have a 4/5 endurance, so like my opponent's attacks aren't great, but they are going to go wide of me over time. And I don't have any great sweeper or anything. I have a bunch of Really? Anyway, I have a bunch of discard cards that are going to be dead in this matchup in another turn or two. So I think my average top deck is worse than my opponent's average top deck, but maybe I can be the one to draw cards. Why are we doing that now? Fatal Push thing? Yeah, it's a Fatal Push thing. Yep. That's not good for me. My opponent had the Fatal Push in their hand the previous turn, then not transforming the Thopter then made a lot of sense. They get a card here. And hopefully they don't go like land and remove Dark Confidant, because I don't think I can recover from that. I think I need this mana, and let's grab a Bayou and hope things work out. Alright, Bob. Treat me good. Fuck, Bob, come on. Damn it. Well, I don't even know if I want to show them this. I can cast this, take a card from their hand, trade this for this. Alright, I think this one is... No. Alright, I should have cast the Grief because I revealed it off Bob. Alright, but I think this one's done. Alright. This is fine. These are good. These are good. These are playable. Chokes are slightly awkward because like it's a fine card, but my opponent has plenty of like basic swamps as well. Let's figure out what I don't want. I think my life total gets pressured too much for Sylvan Library. Is my plan to go lighter on discard here? Like cut Hymns, cut Turoks, maybe cut Reanimates, go down on Undying Evil and Grief, and get some of this stuff in here. How does this look in terms of mana curve? This gives me a good number of plays. I'm a little light on turn 1 plays if I trim a bunch of Undying Evils, but I guess I'm a little light on turn 1 plays a good portion of the time anyway. Like Grief is kind of one of my turn 1 plays. Yep. I don't know how much of this. I don't know to what extent I am supposed to be trimming the Undying Evils and Reanimates versus like keeping them to do the highest potential upside things that are available to this deck. Um, this is one of those things where, you know, the creator of the deck probably like knows exactly what they plan on doing with this deck and how they intend on like playing it and sideboarding it, and just picking it up from an outside perspective, it just feels kind of weird. I don't mean bad, I just mean weird. It's just hard to see what is correct to be doing in terms of sideboarding and like how much of the engine can go. Alright. I don't love this hand. The double Urborg is kind of rough, but I like the potential of disrupting my opponent's initial onslaught with Thoughtseize and then playing a turn 3 choke that puts me pretty far ahead. Let's see if we can make that a reality. Yeah, I think I'll just be taking the Yuriko here. Just kind of put my opponent in a situation where, unless they top deck another ninja, they don't get to just start immediately drawing cards on turn 2. My opponent will likely to be my opponent is likely to have approximately 2 outs to a resolved choke. There's probably about 2 Brazen Borrowers in there. I'm not super up to date on ninjas, but that was the sort of thing that was the case in the past. And we don't care about trying to protect the Bob, right? Like double Fatal Push is going to kill my stuff. Okay. Now it looks like they drew a ninja. Yep. Okay. That's fine. So now we're just hoping they don't have something that answers the choke. And then I can work on using Endurance and Plague Engineer and whatnot to kind of clean up everything else. But I think I just try to get while the getting's good. My opponent didn't replay the Ornithopter. That's a little weird to me. I wonder if that's an I forgot, or like I have a Brainstorm available to me and I want to fetch that away. No, because yeah, unsure if misplay or choice. Yeah, take your cards. I know about another Fatal Push. My opponent is going to get some amount of damage out of this. Okay, yeah. First is not bad. So I can 1-for-1 Plague Engineer for Changeling Outcast. And then like force my opponent to Fatal Push it. I think I'm good with that. I guess I gotta play it around Daze by playing Urborg. You are a bird, right? Yep, you are a bird. Changeling Outcast is also a bird. And everything else. Yep. There we go. I got the initial 1-for-1, and then I also got Fatal Push, so I did end up getting a 2-for-1 for my Plague Engineer. And then between Endurance and Grist, hopefully we can just kind of hold down the fort and make the rest of the game manageable, salvageable, however you want to talk about it. Like, the game as a whole is pretty even right now. Like, my opponent has the onboard power and more cards, but I have something that limits their resources and makes it harder for them to take advantage of said cards. So we'll kind of see how it plays out. I'm most afraid of something like a Retrofitter Foundry. Oh wow. Ponder was worth the land. Yeah, I guess there are some good hits. Like Retrofitter Foundry is so much worse once Swamp is gone, but I guess it does just let them make a 4/4. Ah, fuck. Fuck. Oh god, I'm so screwed. Yeah, that's just 2 4/4s, and now my Grists are not gonna do it, and like these 4/4s are not going to be beaten by Endurance, and they can't be beaten by Grist either. Gross. Alright, so I'll Endurance and trade for this, and then basically hope to draw a Pernicious Deed. I think I'm on 1 out. Uh-huh. That's bad. I guess technically I could rip multiple removal spells in a row and then win that way. Oh no, don't do more things. I'm having enough trouble as is. Maybe I've responded to that with endurance, but I really want to ambush this in combat. I think I am in greed mode here, where I just like have to try and eke every bit of value out of my cards if I want to actually beat that Retrofitter Foundry. Opponent is too smart. Alright, I'll go to 7. I'll put this in play. I need to just use my mana. I don't think I want to use this on either of us. That is not the pernicious deed I needed. Can play Grist, sacrifice Endurance to blow this up, take 6. Or, well, This situation is awful. Alright. Sacrifice. Junk Endurance. Blow up the 4/4. And then my opponent can choose whether or not they want to attack Grist. I think it's reasonable for them to miss 2 points of damage in order to do it, but then they don't draw a card. It really depends on the texture of the rest of their hand, whether or not like that's going to be a correct call. But they're pretty far ahead. I imagine they can take the turn to finish off my Planeswalker and then kill me. Okay, Hymn to Torok is not going to do anything here. I am deterministically dead. GG's. Alright, round 5. I am a little tired of seeing uneven... I am a little tired of seeing uneven... Fuck this card. Alright, keep. I am not the biggest fan of Undying Evil as of right now. It has not put on a particularly good show this league. Alright, guess let's play Verdant and pass. We're most likely playing against Delver. Gonna kind of keep Stifle in the back of my mind here. Oh, sure. Maybe make a Saga Standstill deck. Oh, no, Delver. Interesting. So some things can happen here that suck. We're gonna try to play this around Daze, but if my opponent has like both Daze and Stifle, I get kind of fucked here. Alright, dodge that bullet. Now do I fetch? I can fetch and try to reanimate this. And I'm not sure if that's actually good. I think I'm good with it. I think I'm good if I trade for a Stifle. Ooh, alright. I think I'm on the mono Bayou train right now. And I am totally fine with trading a Reanimate for a Dragon Rage. Or sorry, a Reanimate for a Daze if that's something that my opponent has. Because I have like more important cards that I want to resolve later. Alright, it just resolves. Good stuff. I think this is better than trying to reanimate my Dauthi Voidwalker later. Yeah, do your thing. By the way, I have recorded an episode of the Eternal Glory podcast in between this round and the previous round. So if I'm goofy, I apologize. It was a weird episode. It was a very weird episode. We thought we were going to talk about one thing, and we kind of ended up talking about something very different. Okay. So, how do I want to do this? I think I want to fetch now. We'll get Bayou 4. That way we can get a bingo by having all of them. I think I just want to play Dark Confidant. And I have 2 different things which can just stand in front of a Ragavan. And if Bob resolves and then gets lightning bolted later, I can Undying Evil and try to save it. Or like, force pitching a Daze. Okay. Good with that. Oh, fuck. That turned my Dragon Rage Channeler into a 3/3. So now it has to attack, and it can't block the Ragavan anymore. That's actually really annoying. Huh. Wow, I guess I should have done that post-combat. That's a super weird misplay. Yeah, I should have gone to my second main phase. I don't think I want that 3 there. I think I want to block Ragavan much more. That's so weird. Alright. Get in there, little monkey friend. Daggers. And I can't Undying Evil this because it would return under its owner's control, and they're the owner. Oh, what a fucking tilt. Alright. Alright, Urza Saga into the bin. Oh, and they have another one. Well, I think I'm just dead. God, yeah, again, I'm so tired of drawing these Undying Evils. Yeah, this has Shadow and can't block the Ragavan. I feel like I am in trouble. Like, I have some cute things that I can do. Yep, I'll take 5. Like, next turn, I can Undying Evil. Fuck. At least I can't cast that. They only have 1 treasure right now. Anyway, next turn I can Undying Evil, Dauthi Voidwalker. And then, like, sacrifice it to Grist, bring it back with a +1/+1 counter on it, and then it still won't block my opponent's creatures. I think I am dead. Like, the numbers aren't there yet, but it's happening. Alright. Well, that helps. So we'll attempt Grist. Let's call it quits there. There's just too much pressure on me. Alright. What do we have for this? I think we'll want you and you. I'll probably play Choke, ? Although, got a decent number of, like, removal cards I can bring in. I just don't like how this deck is constructed. Like, there's other things that I can think about here. Oh, I didn't grab all the Plague Engineers. Like, Loam, Choke, Pernicious Deed. These are all, like, not crazy. I might board in Paradox Zone just because I want to see it do things, and I think I'm pretty unlikely to win with the cards that are in my deck, honestly. Alright, what is the worst here? I think Sylvan Library is not good. I think my life total is going to be pressured too much. I think Turok can be bounced by the opposing Caracas, and so it loses some stock. I have no idea how much I am supposed to lean into this Grief Undying Evil stuff. Because, like, in theory, my opponent has red removal, and the Undying Evil can actually do things this time around, but... basically, that's how I feel. I'm gonna go Reanimates out. I'm gonna trim 1 Undying Evil, and we'll see where... No, maybe I'll trim 1 Grief. Like, I fucking hate drawing these Undying Evil, but, like, if they are going to be good, it's here. I really want to bring in the Paradox Zone for the lulz. I don't think I can justify it. Alright. I guess this is a keep. Sure. Mana's a little awkward. I go fetch land pass. I want this to get a Bayou, because I need this to enter untapped to do the things that I want to do. Oh. Well. Sure. That makes my plan of slamming Bob a little bit worse. That is what it is. Bayou. Castle. I think I'll just kill it now. Like, there's just too many worlds where leaving this thing around and, like, trying to, like, just, like, hammer in a Bob this turn don't work out the way that I want, and I don't have a green card in hand to, like, junk the graveyard. Yeah. Sure. Now, notably, I did not board in Force of Vigors as an answer to that. But I do have the Abrupt Decays that were originally in the main deck. Yeah. I didn't have the ability to play around that. Like, I've got to start jamming because I don't have lands. Good thing I have these Undying Evils in my deck still, though. That's good. Alright. So I'm going to fetch a Bayou. Then I'm going to just cast a Bob. I can play Bob around Days, and I can hold up one of these Undying Evils. Alright. Please don't Swords to Plowshares me after I held up this card. Okay, sure. Yeah, I'll just take that hit. I'm not gonna hyper aggressively go for Undying Evil. Alright. What do we got? Oh, it's Prismatic Ending, which exiles. Thanks, Undying Evil. Very cool. Yep. Good stuff. Endurance? I think I would like to just cast Endurance now before I start looking at something like a Murktide happening and mattering. I know we potentially lose out on ambushing a 1/1 in combat, but fuck me. Alright. Yeah. Cute. Cute. Alright. Yeah, so basically, let's never play this deck again. I've seen so many of these, like, Undying Evil Grief decks that claim to be good, but this feels just awful. It's sad, because I was really excited when I saw this deck, because, like, this sort of thing is my jam, but this one just feels too clunky. Oh, do they have the Murktide? God damn it. Yeah. Just concede now. Like, how many outs do I have to that Murktide now that it's in play? One Sudden Edict, basically, and Grist. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I think that's it. That's really disappointing. I mean, I guess I'll play on. Like, I can take the extra turn cycle. But I think this is the end. Yeah. You figured out how to do the thing. I'm going to snap concede the game if my opponent just has a fucking Swords to Plowshares for this Plague Engineer, though. Oh, is that another Prismatic ending? Yep, okay. Well, fuck me. What an awful match. Okay, this one was not a banger, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I love the design space that this deck is playing with, but it just didn't work. Like, I won one match in this entire league, and I don't think I ever did the things that I intended to do in this league. Not once did I, like, Undying Evil a Grief or Undying Evil a Dauthi Voidwalker and actually get to do the thing that the deck was designed to do. I did a poor man's imitation with Endurance one game, but then, like, my opponent played Baleful Strix, and what I was doing just looked fucking embarrassing. Yeah, I just don't think this deck works. Like, there's some cute things here. Like, another thing that, like, didn't come up is, like, we can use Undying Evil and then sacrifice something to Grist and have it come back. Like, the Undying Evils just did not protect our creatures from removal since we were playing against white removal. A bunch of our graveyard hate comes down on turn 2, which isn't fast enough for Reanimator. This one just didn't work. This list 5-0'd, but I can't give this one the seal of approval. We just ran into so many things throughout the league that just kind of danced around the things that I was doing. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please consider clicking the like button. It's the easiest free way to support me. And if you want to get one of your own decks on the channel, that donation information as well as this deck list is available in the video description. Oh, I'm gonna be honest with you, like, if you're gonna play this one, like, try to do a little tweaking first, and see if you can make it better. If I was gonna do some tweaking, I'd probably cut the Turox. Like, the fact that it's legendary is kind of a kick in the pants. That came up being relevant multiple times throughout the league. I'd also, I don't know, man. Yeah, I don't know. You figure it out. I'm a little fried today, but Paradox Zone, you have cool art. You can come back to the channel sometime soon again. All right, bud? You're a good boy.